Today's episode of the Bill Simmons podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network, brought to you by ZipRecruiter. The best teams start with great talent. Talent like, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the world right now. No one knows the importance of talents more than our presenting sponsor, ZipRecruiter. They deliver qualified candidates fast. Their powerful technology, it scans thousands of resumes to find people the right experience for your job. So effective. 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter to get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. Right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. Meanwhile, now that the new year is here and we're deep into it, it's time to deal with all that stuff you never use. Sell it on Mercari. Mercari, the selling app that makes it fast and easy to sell almost anything. Take a few pics, add a description. Boom, boom, boom. Your item is listed. Ring in the new year with less stuff in your home and more money in your pocket with Mercari, Mercari. Mercari, the selling app. We're also brought to you by the Ringer.com, one of the world's last great websites, as well as the Ringer Podcast Network, where we're covering football. We have the Oscars coming up, knee deep in the NBA, and we've had a whole bunch of cool features and all kinds of things. If you love Curb Your Enthusiasm, which we're going to talk about later, I think 2.5 years ago, we counted down the top 100 Curb episodes, or top 80. Yeah, top 80 Curb episodes. So if you want to dive into that, into our archives, feel free. Book of Basketball, we have another new podcast coming this week. If you're a Knicks fan, I would highly recommend it. And then I'm not sure if Rewatchables is going to be this week or not. Stay tuned on that. But we did the 100th episode with Quentin Tarantino, ran last week. Fairway Rolling House. When is that making a comeback?
It's back. I think we're going to run it Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, but it's Tiger time. He's making his 2020 debut calendar year. He played already in the fall. They have this season that starts in September.
This could have been 3 seconds. Just say it's back on Tuesday night.
Tiger's back. The podcast is back. Presented by our good friends at Callaway Golf.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe I'll even be on one of those podcasts.
Hey now!
At some point. And then should mention Tuesday, me, you, Ryan Russillo, the gang is back. We're going to do our mega all-star pod. And then we have a whole bunch of other wrinkles. We've been workshopping it on text. Very excited for this one. It's going to be easily 2 hours. Easily. No question. So that's all coming up. Joe House and Cousin Sal are going to join me in 1 second to talk about the Super Bowl. First, some new music. All right, it's Sunday night. Cousin Sal on the line as always. Special guest Joe House is here. We're in my back house where my wife got me a massage chair for Christmas. And you might remember it, Sal, when we were in Vegas.
Yes.
Those awesome massage chairs, which I've just been super jealous of ever since. And for Christmas, my wife got me a really good one. And House insisted on doing the podcast as he's being massaged.
Oh, no.
So he is now in the chair. And I don't think we're going to be hearing from him much. We might just hear some groaning.
That's great. You just filled his belly with meatballs. And what a better life than this? House, move out here already.
I just want to make it abundantly clear to the Bill Simmons podcast audience, this is not a Robert Kraft massage chair.
Oh, no.
It's a regular,
Why?
It's a regular massage chair.
Too soon.
That's a good start.
We had championship weekend today, and it was completely overshadowed by the season premiere of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which returned triumphantly yet again. And
good.
We are going to talk about that at the tail end of this podcast after we do football and Parent Corner. It was really great, and I'm excited to talk about it. Not as excited to talk about those two football games. Sal, what was the biggest surprise for you?
The biggest surprise is not one of us had a 2-team teaser with the Chiefs and the freaking 49ers. All we do is take favorites all the freaking time. And we couldn't take the plunge. We didn't trust it.
I look at it the other way. I think we single-handedly can you hear House's chair in the background?
I can't hear it.
Okay, good. There might be somebody driving right now
There's
wondering
some-
why
There's some
they're
glute
squeaking.
work going on right now.
Yeah, I think we would have single-handedly switched the outcome of that game.
I see. We would have been looking at a Green Bay, Tennessee Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, the most exciting thing was the Packers really seeming poised for the dumbest cover of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Where the 7.5, House and I were watching with Kyle, not even thinking about the spread, just, kind of monitoring it for no real reason. And then all of a sudden, House points out that one more Packers touchdown would have been the cover. My biggest surprise today was I actually think that game played in Tennessee's hands and was set up perfectly for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what happened because they were able to move the ball downfield over and over again. They got the ball with 4 minutes left, and it was 17-14. They're up. Chiefs felt like they were getting a little momentum, and it just seemed like the Titans were just going to get their 2 first downs. We're going to halftime. They had a 3-point lead, but for whatever reason, they just couldn't keep the Derrick Henry thing going. And I'm not totally sure what Kansas City was doing. They were stacking the line. They were doing the video game Engage 8.
Yeah.
Which at that point, if you're Tennessee, you're just doing Henry and play action. For some reason, they kind of started, either Henry was getting stopped at the line or they weren't doing the play action. They lost the momentum. Mahomes makes one of the great plays in conference championship history,
man.
Flips the game. And then even in the third quarter, they still had a chance to come back. And and they just couldn't get a drive going. I was really surprised by that.
Well, I was looking. Well, first of all, that second half, aside from the last couple drives in the fourth quarter, very reminiscent offensively of the second half against the Patriots, in which I don't want to open up an old wound here, but they did nothing in the second half offensively against the Patriots. They really couldn't move the ball.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you're in the camp that, you know what, the Chiefs are just not getting beat, doesn't matter. They were down 24-0 to the Texans. They came back from that. There was some weird stuff in this game. 3rd and 22, pass interference play against the Chiefs. Stupid. Sets up a first down. 4th and 2. Henry's not even in the backfield, and they convert the 4th down. Tennessee. You got the fattest guy ever to catch a touchdown pass.
Right.
The guy Kelly. He does it like it's amazing. They got caught off guard on a fake punt. Like so many weird things happen, and yet KC not only won but won handily. Like they were up 18 at one point, weren't they?
Yeah. And controlled the game. And at one point, it just seemed like they were going to score every time they got the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So KC, 4 minutes left, second quarter. They get the ball on their own 25. Henry for 1 yard. Henry gets stuffed. Tannehill has to dump it to Deion Lewis. And they end up punting with 2:30 left. And that enabled KC to score the go-ahead touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Third quarter, they get a stop at the beginning of the half. Get the ball back. Henry rushes for 4. Henry no gain, but then they get a penalty, and it goes from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 10. Tannehill scrambles, nothing, so they have to punt on that one. And then even the third time when it was 28-17, it seemed like they were going to have one long drive again, and they just couldn't get it going. And it was weird. It felt like Henry wasn't involved enough, but at the same time, it did feel like the Chiefs figured out how to stop him, which I think if you're a Chiefs fan, has to give you hope for this Super Bowl against the Niners.
Yeah. So he was 19. Well, that's the thing. If you like the Chiefs, you like the fact that they're invincible. It doesn't matter what odds are stacked against them. Although this has happened at home, so maybe it'll be a different story in Miami. But
True.
Henry was 19 for 69. And I saw you could get really good odds. Like 110 was about the highest I've ever seen for a running back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
For over-under for yards. But you could get like under 90. You get like plus 280 or 3-1. I'm like, God, he could have 88 yards and still be effective. But you're right. The Chiefs played it tough. They weren't going to allow the 35-yard run from Henry. He had 69 yards. And Tannehill, like you said, he had been hitting at an 80% clip, even though his numbers were dismal the last 2 games, still throwing for 80% on play action. And they kind of abandoned that, or the Chiefs played tough against it.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, though, my biggest takeaway is, you have to pressure Mahomes. It sounds so simple, but you have to pressure him, and in a way that he can't. I don't know if I've ever seen a right-handed quarterback take off running down the left sideline so well. Like, oh my God, he doesn't have the angle at all. It's like, oh, wow, he does. And then he turns it up for an extra like 6 or 8 yards. he was phenomenal. 8 for 53 on the ground, and that's what really sealed it, I thought.
Yeah. He created some plays with his legs, none of which House was, you were on an airplane. Don't kill United yet. We're going to do that later. But you were able to see Mahomes scramble around in your little airplane. House's plane got delayed 5 hours today.
Yes.
No.
That was one of the reasons we lost on our Titans bet, because we win when we're together. United kept us apart. That should be their new slogan. United Airlines, we keep loved ones apart. So that was it. But Mahomes was great. And by the way, that I was talking about those 3 drives. So let's walk through this really quick. Tennessee's down 4 third quarter. They get a stop. They get a 1st and 5 off a penalty. Henry runs for 4. Now it's 2nd and 1. They're on their own 41. Henry gets stuffed on 2nd and 1. Then on 3rd and 1, gets stuffed again, and they get the holding penalty. So they went from a 2nd and 1 to going backwards, and they had to punt. They get over midfield. Now you can do the play action. You can take some shots. And I thought that was the key moment of the game. The other one, obviously, was the Mahomes. Not only how incredible that scramble was, but how awful the tackling was. And it's almost like, if you let Mahomes score in that play, you don't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. That play's got to haunt them. Because that should have been a field goal.
Thought, by the way, I texted you knuckleheads when they were down 17-7. I was like, Casey still minus 150. We can get him at 150 now. Yep. Again, crickets. That's it. We're done. The rest of the year we can't capitalize on Kansas City like that. But I thought the key was the third quarter, and we all thought the same thing when they were up. They have 21-17 at half. Like, all right, the Chiefs get the ball. If they score first drive of the half, this game's over. It's worse what they did. Nothing happened the entire quarter. They scored, I think, the last play or 2 plays before the last play of the third quarter. Right. Now you're taking 25% of the game away from Tennessee to come back. And
they had a long drive. And that goes back to that key point at the beginning of the third. It was so set up for Henry to start wearing the Chiefs down. Mm-hmm. And when they couldn't get over the hump at midfield, and then all of a sudden they just didn't have the ball anymore. And now you're playing from behind. Now you're doing stuff you don't have to normally do. You mentioned Mahomes. A couple things with that. As I look at my mortality as a Patriots fan, and House is just, I think he's dead as a Redskins fan. He's dead inside. Do you even examine your mortality as a Redskins fan or
Riverboat Ron, Jack Del Rio. What are you talking about?
House is in a massage food coma right now.
Yeah, is there a setting where you could have your mortality massage? House, figure it out.
It's right in there right now.
But Mahomes, watching him create first downs on third down with his legs.
Yeah.
And doing the old video game routine where it's like, I'm going to send all my receivers out. I'm going to wait a second. Then I'm just going to scramble 9 yards to get another first down. And you start to think like, man, can you win the Super Bowl anymore if you don't have a quarterback like that?
Well, I think we're going to find out. I mean, that's exactly what we're going to find out with Jimmy G, who, what do you have, like 77 passing yards?
Right.
And by the way, let's throw passer rating out of there. Let's retire it for good because he had 104.7 passer rating.
Yeah,
really doesn't measure like efficiency, nothing else.
Well, they should make a rule that your passer rating can't be higher than your total yards passed.
Absolutely, I agree.
It should just be. It should be stuck at the yards.
But
he didn't throw the ball. I know we're going to move on to this game, but with 2 minutes left in the first half, through 7.5 minutes left into the fourth quarter, he didn't throw the ball, and I know he didn't have to. But if you have a gigantic parlay with Jimmy Garoppolo to throw a touchdown on it, you don't love that necessarily how they're playing. I'm just saying, I have a lot of friends who have big parlays today, and that was one of them.
You asked the question, Bill, about can you win without a quarterback like that? I mean, the Super Bowl last year was Tom Brady against Jared Goff. So
I know we scored 13 points, and
won.
But here's the thing. We won 3 and 4 years because we had Tom Brady, the best quarterback of all time, but it was still like a Jenga stack every game where, every single 8-yard, everything has to be executed perfectly. He wasn't going to be able to save plays. And I just wonder going forward as football changes and continues to change and you can't hit people over the middle and there's just more and more D-backs out there and everybody's doing the same things, whether the traditional old school Manning on the Colts, Brady on the Pats type of quarterback is somebody that teams will even think about anymore. Yeah, your LSU guy, that dude can create some plays with his legs. I wouldn't even consider a quarterback who couldn't move. Would you?
No, I know.
Would you ever in a million years draft somebody who couldn't move around?
You can't anymore. But let's just say we saw Patrick Mahomes the cleanest pockets have been in a while for
True.
him. It really, I mean, I think Green Bay would have done a nice job with him with Preston and Zadarius Smith and Blake Martinez. But 49ers have guys who are all over the ball too. Bosa, Quan Alexander. They're very disruptive. That's the only way you're going to beat someone like that.
You know, I was thinking Mahomes gets hurt. And actually, it looks like he blew out his knee in that game. And I was watching when it happened. Did the QB sneak? And I think he dislocated his kneecap or whatever it did. They popped it back in. And then watching them the next few weeks, and he just wasn't right. You could see it. It wasn't a secret. He couldn't really move around. He was limping, and his throws were off and the whole thing.
No, he had 406 yards when he came back against Tennessee.
No, but remember he just didn't look the same. He didn't look like he did today. Like he wasn't moving around like a athlete extraordinaire.
He's at his
and
best
things like that.
yeah.
And I wonder if we missed a huge gambling opportunity because the injury he had, he was going to be fine by mid-December. Mm-hmm. And you think about what the Chiefs have looked like when he's healthy and the speed that they have that you've talked about on this podcast with the receivers and Kelsey and the whole thing. And it's like, how did we not see this coming?
Well, can we blame United Airlines? House, can you say you didn't get my text saying Casey's minus 150 alert? We got to jump on this. Can you, I know you're just going to get like 3 drink coupons out of this, but.
I'm even talking for the AFC in general, though, because everybody just handed the AFC to the Ravens.
Yeah.
I can't speak right now because this thing is in my back. It's all the way up.
All right, we'll handle it, House. You'll come back to us at some point.
I'm working on it.
I'm sorry,
I did see that text.
Sorry to involve you. I screwed up there.
Yeah, it's a bad job. Bad job talking to one of the hosts of the podcast. You shouldn't have done that. But I think that's something to remember going forward when a key guy on a team has an injury, but it's an injury that they're going to be fine. It's not like a broken arm or a broken wrist or a torn ACL, but something that the guy's going to recover at some point. That offense is ridiculous. And Damian Williams, I actually thought they could have run the ball more than they did on Tennessee. It seemed like it was 5-6 yards every time. Right. And I wonder.
They might have just been tired. I think everything you talked about last week with Derrick Henry and nobody does this 3 games in a row. Well, it's the 4th game. I'm including the Texans, the last game of the season where Henry went crazy too. But they did look a little exhausted over there.
And it did seem cold because when I really got concerned about the Titans covering was when they showed that Tannehill moving the iPad with his nose.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And his hands were in like these 2 basically plaster casts trying to warm up. And he just didn't see. And then on the other sideline, Mahomes is, strutting around and doing his whole thing. What?
And you think about, and they're going to compare, we'll talk about that, the Super Bowl matchups and everything, but Kelsey, not a big game. He looked like the Kelsey that didn't care about catching passes or going to a knee and catch. I think he only had 30 yards. And then you got like Sammy Watkins. It's just a track meet. You have like silver medalists everywhere on that field.
So I have a Chiefs fan who texted me early in the 4th quarter and said, this game is Andy Reid's Mona Lisa. Oh. And at that point, Andy was throwing a perfect game. And then it all falls apart with 6 minutes left when down 18 on 4th and 15, the Titans pull the old, oh my God, we're so disheveled. We might not get this punt off, and then run the fake punt pass.
Stupid.
And the Chiefs are completely blindsided.
Right.
Had no idea. It's like the game's over in 6 minutes. What do you think they were going to do? And then the Titans go down and score, and it seemed like they actually might cover from that. But between that and they get the ball back and they run 6 passes, or I'm sorry, 6 plays, and somehow, only burn 1 Tennessee timeout. And it just had all the makings, but then the pass interference.
And he kept all his timeouts, right? Andy Reid didn't have to worry about that. That was a big thing.
But he pulled off a challenge today.
Yeah.
That happened. He got just a lot of praise all over the place. People feel really happy for him. It goes back to what Peter Schrager said on my podcast on Thursday about Ethan Hawke casually telling him in some coffee shop that it just felt like this was Andy Reid's year. And that's a good theory. Like Belichick gets knocked out. Lamar just runs into this bizarre Titans team that just cold cocks them, pulls a Douglas Tyson on him. And now they're in the Super Bowl against this team. That House, I'm not sure. I didn't get the feeling today that the Niners have 100% faith in their quarterback.
Well, they don't necessarily need to win with him.
Right.
He's a game manager. Shanahan has resolved that last week after he threw the pick at the end of the second quarter against Minnesota.
Took
he
the car
came out.
keys.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So, Jimmy, you have the scooter for the next quarter.
He's
You
got
get to ride the bike.
He's got the driver's permit, but a parent has to be in the car.
That's exactly right.
The parents have not let him do the car yet. I want to talk about that game in 1 second. Let's take a break. Hey, did you know you could take a Sonos speaker anywhere you can go? It's the Sonos Move, the durable, battery-powered smart speaker for indoor and outdoor listening. I have one next to my TV. I can pick it up. I can walk it outside. I can bring it to the bathtub. You can do whatever you want with it. It's pretty great. Just pick up, move off the indoor charging base, bring great sound to the great outdoors, indoors, wherever you want it to be. Impressive bass, ultra wide soundscape, clear details for music, podcasts, which is what I use it mostly for, radio and more. Even uses automatic true play tuning technology to optimize the sound for wherever you are and what you're playing, and up to 10 hours of battery life on a single charge. Never worry about unexpected weather or accidents. Sonos Move was designed to withstand water, dust, and accidental drops. It's pretty great. I would say, how's the massage? Just going up and down. Remember the radios that people used to have in the early 80s?
Yeah.
The Sonos Move is like that multiplied by a million. It's like a giant egg. It's
Why
awesome.
don't we take it to the golf course?
We just walk around with it.
Now we're going to put it in the cart. Like we're going to get our jams on.
Go to Sonos.com to learn more. Sonos.com. Okay, Niners, Packers. I wish there was more to talk about in this one. The overhit early. The Niners looked awesome. Mostert looked as good as Derrick Henry on his best day. Debo is terrifying. Kittle didn't really do that much. The defense was swarming. And it felt like this game was over pretty early, and then Rodgers did a valiant effort for the cover. But did you learn anything from this game?
Well, I learned, I thought I already knew this, but speed-wise, now just watching these games, the Chiefs, number one in the AFC. They're far and away the fastest team. 49ers, really fast. Defense, all facets, special teams even fast. And if you could run, yeah, you said it, Jimmy G, we're going to learn a lot here. Can you win a Super Bowl with a quarterback? He really Tannehill'd them. He threw like he was 6 for 8 at one point, very, very late in the game. And they were just destroyed on the ground. And Tevin Coleman, like you said, got hurt. Raheem Mostert, did you know he was on 6 teams? This is his 7th team.
Yeah, and he's kind of quietly 27 years old, isn't he? Or 28?
Yeah, well, he's got to be. Yeah, he's been playing. I mean, he's got like 300 total yards since 2015 before this year. He was on Miami, Cleveland, Baltimore, Chicago, and San Francisco. But it's hard to believe that Raheem Mostert could potentially, decide who's going to win this Super Bowl. It's very, very, very strange. But Rodgers really never just had a chance. And that's they kind of did to 49ers what they did to the Packers, what the Packers did to Seattle last week, right?
Yeah. And I don't know. It's cool to see the 49ers good again. They're just one of those teams. We grew up, they were good. They never changed their uniforms, which I really appreciate. They have real history with some of the legends. I thought it was interesting with the Chiefs, even though that team's been around our entire life. It's like, the Chiefs legends are on the field. It's I don't know who that would be, whereas the Niners can just trot out Steve Young and Montana.
Oh, sure.
Rice and whoever they have. But it was just a cool day. Like if you're a Niners fan, everything went right except for the Tevin Coleman thing. You're coming out of that game being like, wow, we can do this. Our team is so clearly superior to all the other NFC teams. And I think as we head toward the Super Bowl, it's clear that the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Niners were the 3 best teams. And the Ravens, everything went wrong that game. I'm sure if you play that game 10 times, maybe they win 5 or 6, but it was just a bad matchup for them in a lot of ways. But I think that was the class of the league this season. And it feels like these are the right 2 teams, which doesn't always happen. We go to Super Bowls and it's always like one team's the right team and the other one's like, how the fuck did that team get in there? And this year it's like the 2 right teams.
Well,
this is good.
I think
San Francisco, they did it. They beat the Packers twice. They beat New Orleans in New Orleans. And I think we take it for granted. We don't realize what they've done. I feel like they've been good for so long, but they weren't good last year. They were very bad last year and coming back and playing in the best division in football. You have to beat Seattle. You have to beat the Rams. And they did it. They did it handily. They were heads and shoulders above those teams, I thought. They're really good. I'm excited for the Super Bowl matchup, except for the colors. The colors suck. I know you said they never changed their uniform. Maybe they should. I don't like the red on red here.
What were you going to say, House?
Just that I felt like we were cheated with the Saints. The 4 best teams were the Saints, the Niners, the Chiefs, and the Ravens over the course of the season, and the Saints laid an egg against the Vikings. They cheated us.
The more I
win a
think,
goddamn home game, yeah.
Exactly.
the more I think about that Saints game, because I'm with you. I thought they were the second best team, or maybe Minnesota was, or maybe it was 2A, 2B. But the whole quarterback thing was so weird, and I thought about this well after the fact, well after we did the podcast about it that night. The whole concept of just not sticking with the same QB all game and bringing in the other QB for certain plays, and it just doesn't work. Like, what are the examples of where it's like, oh, remember when that team did this and they won the Super Bowl? Because I remember Pittsburgh used to do this in the early Cordell days, and I just don't like it. I don't think it's a good idea.
You're talking about the Saints.
I'm talking about the Saints,
yeah,
because then if you're Breeze, subconsciously, you're never totally in a rhythm. You're jogging to the sidelines 4 or 5 times during the course of a game, and then you also deep down your coach is saying, this is my best chance for a first down if you're not on the field, which is just kind of odd. Like, Andy Reid's never taking Mahomes off the field.
Well, yeah, I know. But I think if you ask the Saints fans, probably maybe 60% of them would have wanted Taysom Hill to play the whole game after seeing the version of Drew Brees you were getting in the second quarter.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, that was kind of their fatal flaw. They had this backup quarterback that their fans are like, man, when this guy's in, some good shit happens. But
it's funny, you say, okay, we'll take Mahomes and Brees. Obviously, one's much older than the other. And I thought the 4 weeks off or whatever it was, that would help. It's like, hey, he's got a 12-game season. That's good. Yeah, he's late 30s. This is going to work out for him. It didn't work great for Mahomes because he wasn't as sharp, as you say, at least running the ball wise when he first came back. But he eventually is now right there at the top, number one in the game. But yeah, you thought the Saints really screwed it up. They screwed it up for me. They screwed it up for everybody.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Mahomes thing and how everybody was just so Lamar, including myself. I absolutely loved watching Lamar. Where we were the same with Mahomes last year, and all Mahomes did was just have some bad luck and get hurt. And then he just became this afterthought to the rest of the season. And I was trying to think, was there an NBA season where something like this happened?
Well, sure. We've had seasons where guys win the MVP based on their regular season performance, but they're not. Nobody thinks that it's the best guy in the league, or that he even deserved the MVP.
It's like new star syndrome. Because I was thinking about,
like, Steve Nash stole from Shaq an MVP one of those years.
Right. I was thinking more like when Barkley won in '93, but we knew MJ was the best player. Yeah. I guess what's different with this Mahomes thing is we kind of stopped thinking Mahomes was the best player, whereas we left last year knowing that he was the best player. And just because they had a weird start to the season, we just kind of got thrown off the scent. Now, he hasn't won a title, and you can't officially become the guy until you have a ring. But from a basketball standpoint, I don't know. Maybe it's like the 2009 when LeBron took over the league and he won his first MVP, but then Dwight Howard knocked him out and Kobe ended up winning his title. And it was like, oh, Kobe's the best player.
Right.
Where the whole year we thought it was LeBron. So maybe it's something like that. But
I think this team is also focused, and they think they were the best team last year, and they might have been. They really might have been. I mean, D Ford,
it's ridiculous.
If he does like any other smart defensive lineman does and blows up his fingertip in a fireworks accident, he's not offsides, and they make it to the Super Bowl against a lethargic Rams team. Who knows? Maybe the game would have been different. And now we're talking. Then if that happens, we're talking about Mahomes building a dynasty. So I think they feel like they're behind the 8 ball right now. This is way behind where they should be.
Well, and it is one of those things where setup wise, if they were able to pull off the Super Bowl, they are kind of set up. Like, they'll definitely be the favorite next year if they win. Whereas San Francisco, I'm not sure. I think from a contract standpoint, they're actually better off this year maybe than going forward. Although they do have some young guys, but the Garoppolo contract's pretty heavy. When I was thinking about it with Mostert today, how dumb it is. Like, first of all, I still defend the Saquon Barkley pick just because I thought he was a better bet than the quarterbacks that got taken after them. But just in general, when you can make the Super Bowl with some guy who's on 6 teams, do you just feel dumb that your team paid all that money for Zeke Elliott? Do you wish that hadn't happened now?
I guess, but Derrick Henry almost took the Titans to a Super Bowl. So
yeah, but he was like a backup for 4 years. See, remember
that's how
he was
you
like
want to build
splitting.
your team.
He was
No, I get it. You're going to get that every now and then, and it's been who wanted who got the Rams there? Yeah, it's claim jumper Anderson, right? What was his name?
Yeah,
CJ
yeah,
Anderson?
the big guy, C.J. Anderson.
Yeah. So
well, it's funny
for the
because
most part, I think you're right, but
Belichick has been on this forever.
Mhm.
After the one time he spent money was Corey Dillon, and we needed him, and football was a little different back then in 2004. But
right
from that point on, it was like late first rounders, running back by committee, et cetera, et cetera. Kyle and I had a moment today.
Who cares about Coach Belichick? Honestly,
I was
down
so
on
excited. I
Boston
really
sports.
wanted to talk about him.
I'm sorry. I saw the Aaron Hernandez doc. I'm down. The Red Sox cheating again. Real Boston sports should just take a 3-year break. They should all be in massage lounge chairs like Joe House right now.
The Robert Kraft massage chair is terrific.
Yeah. Boston. I'm sure the Bruins. We're going to find out their goalies. Their goals at home were 4 inches shorter, smaller. Or something. Let's just take a break, Boston.
There's been no Red Sox evidence that's come out yet. It's just our manager cheated on his previous team.
He's going to be banned for life.
Well, the crazy thing is, he's more of a persona non grata than A-Rod.
Well, what do you mean? Why is that the crazy thing?
A-Rod is like the all-time liar / cheater, and it just took a victory lap for the last 2 years. And is the Sunday Night Baseball guy, and everybody loves A-Rod again. Alex Cora is going to have to get a job at Home Depot.
I mean, the Red Sox should never bring up steroids. You got such a great pass on that. Such a great pass that none of your stars were implicated, even though mentioned in all the Mitchell reports.
Oh, it's like the thing is, who wasn't cheating in baseball, and who doesn't cheat in baseball? And
I know,
sport's
but
ridiculous.
This is so much worse, isn't it? So much worse than the steroid. I mean, we could tell by looking at the guys before they even came out with the reports that guys in the 70s players were much smaller than guys in the 90s. We just knew it. So it's we just assumed that it was equal cheating on each team. But the stealing signals. I don't know.
Well, you remember when Brady Anderson went from 18 homers to 50 in 96?
Right.
How nuts everybody went about that. It was like one of the main talking points of that season.
Right.
And he was like a singles hitter in the Red Sox.
I think I'm just bummed because it's 3 weeks from pitchers, catchers, and we don't have a manager. It's insane. You don't either.
I think the Mets, you've made history in a bunch of different ways since you stole the 86 World Series from me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're on year 34 of the drought. I think being in the cheating scandal without actually having cheated was a really incredible job by the Mets.
That's good.
Where you literally didn't do anything and you were still in it.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? The Mets are going to somehow end up with Jason Garrett. I'm going to have to run into traffic repeatedly.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at it this way. Half of my teams haven't cheated.
Good.
Who's
the other one?
No cheating with the
College?
Celtics.
Holy Cross? Oh, the Celtics.
The 2011 Bruins Stanley Cup before I abandoned hockey.
Mm-hmm.
That was no cheating with that one.
The Paul Pierce wheelchair, that wasn't cheating?
That was mind games.
We're going to find out something there.
That was, it's the timing of the Hernandez documentary wasn't helping. Although I do want to point out, he only played with us for 3 years. People act like he was, there. First of all, we never won a Super Bowl with him. And I think he played 38 games total. He played 6 playoff games. His only real good season was 2011. But yeah, I watched that whole documentary, and I thought it kept my attention the whole time.
You admit that he's at least tangentially tied to some of these crimes?
Well,
what the hell?
It tries to make these. I don't want to say case, but bring up the possibilities like, oh man, this guy was battling some demons and maybe he had CTE, and it's like, or maybe he was just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like maybe he was just an unredeemable piece of shit who somebody bumped into at a nightclub and he decided to shoot the guy.
I agree. I think, I say PCP over CTE if you're going to blame anything. Like it seemed like every time he smoked something, he was then staring at mad dogging someone at a bar that he didn't meet the night before.
Right.
We had both. He had the CTE and the PCP.
I think he did. It was a combination of factors.
Yeah.
Can we all agree no more Aaron Hernandez content? Can we be done now?
Sure. I could see why you wouldn't want it.
No, it's just like we have
Embarrassment,
two different podcasts. We had a documentary. There's a book. Like, I think we're all good now.
Yeah.
Right? Good enough. Like, we get it. Not a good guy. Bad guy.
Well,
Cautionary tale.
Bad guy. Cautionary tale for what?
The culture.
you're right. We'll move on to the next masshole. I agree. There's got to be plenty.
That 08 Celtics title is fucking pristine, man. I just look back at that. No asterisks. No cheating scandals. Just Ubuntu.
Wait, which one?
The KG title.
You
Ubuntu.
mean after Kevin McHale walked KG on a silver
that's
platter?
Good trade. We gave up
nothing. He gave up nothing.
Enough. We're gonna
The
take
one where KG buys this illegal gem and gets superpowers from it. That really? That's not a tainted title.
Can we talk about Aaron Rodgers really quickly?
Yeah.
10 years now since that Super Bowl run that he had.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's 6-7 in the playoffs now.
Yeah, and 1-3 in championship games. Is that it?
Yeah, and there's been some ass kickings out of the 7 losses too.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's hitting. I think he turns 36 next year. And if you're going to make the case for them, part of the case had to be that 97 Broncos, 98 Broncos kind of vibe, where it's more of a running team, but you still have the great quarterback. I'm not ready to pile dirt on him yet. I just want to point out he's only won one Super Bowl and has only been in one Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get to Super Bowls, and except in your case, it really is, I think.
But this was a guy a couple years ago during that unbelievable run he had in 2017 when he dragged that team to the title game. We were talking about him as the best quarterback, not just in the league, but potentially of all time, like the most. So
what year was that when he won Super Bowl MVP that year?
2017. Oh, he won the Super Bowl in 2010, but it was when they lost to the Falcons, right? When he put the Packers on his back. Basically.
So he was 26 years old when he won that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's going to be 36.
Right.
I would personally, with all due respect to Rodgers, and I thought he was fantastic, and I thought he should have been one of the 10 quarterbacks that they picked in NFL 100. I think Mahomes is a higher level of him, talent-wise.
What, all time or right now?
No, I'm just saying ceiling of his talent. I think he's more talented than Rodgers is, and I always thought Rodgers was kind of the most talented quarterback. You know what I mean? House is like either considering this or the massage chair is working on his glutes.
House, what do you think?
It's kind of a weird. I'm having a hard time with the.
I'm talking pure talent.
Pure talent.
Like what we saw from Mahomes those last 2 games. I don't know what the whole is. It's like if you're going to do a scouting report and just rate all of these different qualities from 1 to 10, I'm not sure what's lower than a 9. He can do every single thing. And he's got a fucking cannon.
I don't think there's anything. I mean, he could throw behind his back also. He could do trick shots too. So it doesn't really matter.
I mean, those third downs that he was running and turning into first downs today were out of control. They were Russell Wilson-esque.
What does Lamar Jackson do with those receivers though?
No, I don't think that's the missing piece here with Jackson. We need to see Jackson one time in a proper pressure situation come through, put the team on his back. He's gotten a pretty nice white glove kind of treatment so far.
Well, he's young.
Mahomes
he's like 22.
So is Mahomes.
He's younger than Sal's LSU buddy.
Right.
Sal's going to be on the Bengals next year. You might see Sal buy a Bengals hat. He loves that guy.
I love that Baker's the 4th best quarterback in the division if Big Ben comes back at even 70%.
Oh, my God.
The poise of Mahomes is what distinguishes him, and he showed it last year.
And the leadership.
Yes.
Because he was doing it again today. Like
Absolutely.
That team's down 10 and everybody believes in what's going on. Okay, last year, Crown Royal launched the first off-the-field water break to encourage fans of the game to moderate and hydrate, to stay in the game, whether you're watching in the stadium, at home, or in a massage chair. Have a great time. Enjoy some Crown. Don't be that person that ruins it for everyone. Make the right call. Take a water break. So, Sal, who made the right call this week or not?
I think I did. I want to give it to myself. I bet Conor McGregor. I had him all over the place. I should have really reached out to you Yahoos. I knew it was easy. I talked to Dana White on my podcast. I could tell in his voice he was trying to make it more of a even matchup than it was. So I took Conor McGregor. Not only did I take him inside 60 seconds, 16-1 odds on
The
Fox
cuz.
Bet, and
I love that. Why didn't we get the tip?
I know.
That's right
you
up
were
my
stuck on
alley.
a flight somewhere. I don't know where you were.
I probably was. United.
Good job by me. 16-1.
Terrific.
That's a really good one. Do you have a great call this week, House?
Well, I did hit on the very last playoff game an absolutely ridiculous parlay. I put together the San Francisco money line with Jimmy Garoppolo under 242.5 yards.
That's beautiful.
And the over.
Nice.
The 47-point over, and it came through. But like plus 330.
And it's tough to bet under a quarterback's yard total and win the over for the game. You really painted yourself in a corner. And
you told me I was betting against myself.
Well,
which is why I'm expert at that.
My great call of the week. I didn't have the best gambling playoff so far, but I did put for plus 375 a sizable wager on the Niners before the Super Bowl, which now we're gonna have to figure out how I lose money on that when I have favorable odds. Crown Royal reminds everyone this football season to take a water break and moderate to stay in the game. Guess the lines. Super Bowl 54. I picked the Chiefs by 3 points over the Niners. Sal, what did you have?
Well, let me just say we were tied for the year going into this week. You picked the Chiefs by 3. I also picked the Chiefs by 3. How anticlimactic. You can't. That needs to be a tiebreaker somehow.
No, our tiebreaker is going to be we have to do XFL lines for week one XFL.
Yeah, I guess
no, seriously, we got to do it. We need a winner. No, Pro Bowl's out. We got to do week one XFL.
Right. Let's do it.
the Richmond Rough Riders
matchups had the AFC minus 2.5 before today. They stuck with that. They opened Chiefs minus 2.5 over the 49ers. It went down to pick 'em. And now it's back up to Chiefs minus 1.5. 54 is the over under.
What did you have, House?
I would have said 2.5.
Oh, all right. So House would have won.
You didn't let House pick.
Sorry.
House didn't fight for himself because he's like basically horizontal now.
I pushed the Chinese button. I'm doing the Chinese.
Oh, you're doing the Chinese
now.
massage?
Yeah.
I told you to check out the Chinese one. That was a good one.
It is. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm trying to remember. This has only happened a handful of times, right? When we've had a Super Bowl line that was under 3.
Under 3, yeah.
Yeah, the Pats were minus 2.5 in last year,
right,
against the Rams. In 2015, Seahawks Pats was a pick'em.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos Seahawks minus 2.5. Pats Giants in 2012 was a minus 2.5. And then before that, you have to go back to 1982, 49ers minus 1.
Wow, yeah.
Dolphins minus 1 in 1973. Colts minus 2.5 in 1971. So it's only happened. This is the 8th time it's happened. But weirdly, it's happened 1, 2, 3. This will be the 4th time in the last 7
Pats
years.
are favored by 3 over the Falcons. I don't know why I said the other way. Yeah, that's something. It's going to be good. And most of the games ended up close with the small spreads, right?
Right. Yeah, because they know. So where do you think this line ends up?
I think there's going to be a solid game for equal betting or big betting on both sides. Like, so you might see a Mattress Mac put $1 million on something late in the game, but I don't know. I mean, I see the public, I think, more or less goes with the better quarterback. So I think the Chiefs could tick up a point, but I don't think it'll get to 3.
I would say it's going to land at 2.5.
Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be a lot of Chiefs momentum.
Mm-hmm.
This is the year for Andy Reid, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll do props next week. I did want to introduce to you guys. I made a quickie list of the most annoying Super Bowl storylines that we can.
Expect. Good.
And you can chime in some after.
All right.
These are in no particular order. Andy Reid is greater than you thought he was. I think that's going to be one storyline. A lot of Andy Reid love. He may have never won a Super Bowl, but his peers will tell you he's one of the best coaches ever to do it.
Nice.
You're going to be hearing a lot of that.
Let me just interrupt you there?
Yeah.
I know you're being like facetious maybe. He's a Hall of Famer, right? Now that we see the Cowers in,
Oh, once Cowher got in, it was done.
Well, that's like Hench and Brad were like, oh yeah, Andy, come on, Andy Reid's on. I'm like, he has 15 double-digit win seasons. He's getting in.
Also, he's had some 12-4s and 13-3s and playoff wins with some pretty kind of forgettable quarterbacks.
Right.
The Super Bowl, 2 different teams.
Yeah. House would have taken him the last 15 years for the Redskins.
Believe me.
Another annoying Super Bowl storyline. Oh, that Travis Kelce's a character. See something?
Well, I mean,
See wacky or what?
Kelsey and Kittle. Which
Kelce
one's a
versus
bigger
Kittle will be a
character?
fun one.
Kelsey will be going for it, though. I'm telling you. Kelsey, I bet, has a team around him who's like, Travis, if you win the Super Bowl, if we play our cards right, we think we can get the State Farm commercial in 2020.
Right.
And we think we can get a beer, and we think we can get a car. I think we get 3 commercials for you. Another annoying Super Bowl storyline. Richard Sherman, parentheses, fill in some sort of controversy he's going to generate at some point over the next 2 weeks. That's a lot. Good. That'll happen, right?
Yeah.
He's going to insult somebody, bring up some touchy point that no other player would bring up. My prediction, and by the way, I hope he does this because somebody at the Super Bowl has to do this, is he's the one who will make the Rooney Rule a real issue and a whole 36-hour talking point. He's going to use the stage he's a really smart guy. He's not afraid of anything, and he loves stirring shit. And I think he will not be afraid.
I'm going to say he spits on Guillermo during media day.
Oh, that's a very possible. Or he could go that way. It could go anyway. Another one. Another annoying Super Bowl storyline. Kyle Shanahan. His parents are proud of him. Super. He learned everything there was to learn from his dad. Hold on. Do you have some violins? Can I get the Vaseline camera that Barbara Walters uses? The little hazy camera? Mom, can you get some tears going? I'm ready for that 11-minute segment.
That'll be good.
I don't know if you know this. This is the first time in NFL history the dad and the son both coached the Super Bowl.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that one.
Another annoying Super Bowl storyline. Aaron Hernandez was a bisexual serial killer. I think that's going to come up.
What?
I think that one's going away. No, Netflix, they won't stop running. Tyreek Hill and Frank Clark, they have some baggage.
Mm-hmm.
People will be kicking the tires on that.
Right.
Here's another one. Lamar Hunt would have loved this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah, he probably would have, but people die in football. The owners, and then they die and they pass their team to their family.
Not just in football, in life.
Yeah, it had death. Death
people
happens.
Die.
I think
I'm
it's
sure
just
he would have
in
loved
football.
this, but he's
I
not
think
here.
That documentary taught me it's just in football.
Just in
People
football.
And Hank Stram, how many times are we going to see that? Him on the sidelines, right?
Really miss
Chiefs,
these
it's been
guys.
50 years since they made the Super Bowl. So that just in general.
During the course of 50 years, people die.
Yeah.
And then why did the Patriots trade Jimmy Garoppolo?
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the pieces are out there for the jigsaw puzzle for somebody to write the giant piece of how it was really a spite trade by Belichick, who I think Seth Wickersham's reporting, and he was on this pod a couple weeks ago. I think he was right. I think Belichick shopped him to one team, and he wanted to put him with a coach that he really liked, that he thought he could succeed with. And somehow the Patriots are going to be involved in the Super Bowl.
Not that anyone cares, but who is Belichick rooting for?
Oh, 1,000,000,000% Jimmy G.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because then he could still claim to be the AFC king.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other annoying Super Bowl storylines you feel like on the horizon?
I don't know that these are annoying, but I would say that all the quarterbacks that played for both teams. It's actually an extensive list. It's not just Montana. It's DeBerg, Bono, Gerbach, Alex Smith. You're very familiar with him, right?
God,
right,
that's
Joe
weird.
House?
Yeah,
I'm
5
glad he
teams.
has 2 legs still.
Yeah, this is not Bears Packers. This is Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs Niners. 5 players. The D Ford trade, the whole D Ford thing.
Yeah,
that'll be big. Played last year on this team.
D Ford cost them a Super Bowl last year. Now he's trying to cost them one this year. That's a good one.
Basically, they got McCole Hardman for him. They got a 2nd-round pick. It became McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jimmy G's season ended in 2018 at the hands of the Chiefs. That'll be annoying. That was week 3. What do I want to do? I guess not as big a deal, but they picked Solomon Thomas over Mahomes. The Niners did.
Right. That'll be a
interesting.
whole, all the teams that passed on Mahomes, that people get 2 days out.
All the teams that screwed up by trading Raheem Mostert there, the 60, Miami, Cleveland, Baltimore, Chicago, lands in San Francisco. And what about this? Jimmy G's porn star girlfriend. Do we hear from her?
Oh, yeah. I would assume she's coming on Kimmel's show on like Wednesday.
Honestly, though,
Our friend
gets
Brad's
her?
probably trying to book her.
You're right. I should have talked to Brad about that.
Yeah, submit the name to Brad. I have a Super Bowl storyline that actually isn't that annoying. It's kind of funny. Jimmy G has a chance to win his 3rd Super Bowl ring.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
One more than Peyton Manning. One more than Eli Manning.
That's rude.
Half
That's
as
a
many
lot.
as the GOAT, Tom Brady.
That's rude.
3-ring Jimmy. He went two as a backup, and then the 3rd one probably throwing 82 yards in the Super Bowl.
Under 100 yards.
Right.
3-ring Jimmy, man.
That's a good one.
Anything else, House? House just hates football because, first of all, you're not very good at gambling on it.
Why,
Although you did
House?
okay
What
today.
happened?
No, and then the
I
Redskins
like
thing.
football.
The Redskins thing is really starting to wear on House.
No, I'm very happy. I'm just my
House,
shot.
you won a lot of money on your futures.
I
can't say
know.
that about me or Simmons.
I took all that money and immediately lost it in the playoffs, but I hit
Yeah.
a ton of futures. It's
Did you
true.
really?
Yeah.
yeah, he was good.
Well, House's gambling time is coming up now. Golf season's upon us.
Yeah.
We're doing some fairway rolling this week. We got a little golf preview.
Absolutely.
It's time. House is really circling.
By the way, the Tennessee is someone was driving for the cover. Oh no, Green Bay's driving for a cover, and I'm getting a text from Harry, our friend Harry. Sung Jo Im fucking bogeyed 18 and put him out of the top 5. I was going to get plus 350 on that. I was like, Harry, please.
You
give
can
us
tell
2
him
weeks.
just to text that to me. I could be sympathetic
I know.
with him.
That
about
should go right to you.
Yeah,
Well,
he
this
can go right
is-
to me.
I would say this is really Harry's time of year because the Australian Open just kicked off.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
We have the Pro Bowl, the ZFL. We have lots of bad college basketball and weird tournaments,
Mhm.
and all that stuff is coming.
And he's deep on the golf already.
We have NBA All-Star Game and the Slam Dunk Contest. We have the NHL All-Star Game, and all these weird golf tournaments are starting up.
I know.
What did I
know.
miss?
He loves it. I hate it. I have to do an hour-long TV show and talk about like there's no Zion this year. Who's the 3rd best college basketball player out there? Nobody
No,
knows.
this is the worst college basketball season.
Terrible.
Probably, I remember 06 was really bad, the JJ Adam Morrison season, but at least that had stars and we were following and stuff. This year, it's like you could walk down the street and say college basketball player names to people and they wouldn't know what was going on.
It's
Nobody
it's
knows.
the kid that Penny Hardaway bought a house for.
That's it. The
kid.
best player was on Memphis, and he
Right.
left after like
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, who could have guessed something bad was going to happen with that story?
Yeah.
His one-time benefactor. Yeah, it's very strange. I am excited for all of the bad gambling that's about to come. I'm also excited that we have some fun NBA futures in play. And then I talked to you guys into Giannis MVP, which I'm not allowed to bet on, but I was like, they're going to have a potentially historic season.
We
And
did
he's
that
going to
back
average a
in
30-14.
That was good. I got a little upset with
November.
you because as soon as you like lambasted us for not taking it, like Harden went for average like 50 over 2 weeks. But-
He's definitely winning again. That team wins by their point differential right now, I think, is plus 12. It's borderline historic,
They're
top 3
so
all time.
good defensively. We'll have our time to talk about
They can
this
shoot some
as
threes.
the spring comes along.
That's
They're
right.
so good defensively.
All right, we'll take one more break, then we're going to do Parent Corner and then talk about Curb. Hey, we know you've heard of Salesforce, but if you're like a lot of people, you might not know exactly what Salesforce does. Here's what it does. It brings companies and customers together. With Salesforce, different employees across your different departments like Steve in sales, Mary in marketing, Katie in customer service, they all get a single shared 360-degree view of each of your customers. So whenever your customers talk to all the people I just mentioned, they'll feel like they're having a relationship with one united company and one united massage chair.
United
We went
chakra.
we had drug house and now we have massage house.
This is unbelievable. It's on the glutes.
Not a series of disconnected departments, but one united company. And second, it means that all of those people I mentioned earlier, not including House, have everything they need to make your customers happy, not just a little happy. Happy like, wow, I love this company. They really get me. I'm never going anywhere else kind of happy. That kind of happy. I've loved Salesforce forever because my buddy Steve Bishop Bish.
Yeah, I know Bish.
Immortal Bish.
I love Bish.
Yeah, big Salesforce guy.
Oh, great.
So there you go. When Bish is happy and your customers are that happy, everyone's happy. That's how Salesforce brings companies and customers together. If that makes sense, I hope it does. To learn more, go to salesforce.com/Simmons. All right, before we do Parent Corner, Clay Travis's team lost. You got to be happy, Sal.
That was nice. Although I know it would have been great for the show for 2 weeks, and we're going to Miami for a week, but it would have been terrible for life. So I'm happy to say goodbye to that team. Enough.
What do you got for Parent Corner?
I'm gonna co-opt it. First of all, I'm getting in a little trouble with Parent Corner with what I'm doing with my oldest because he listens. So
oh no, he got mad about last week.
Season finale. I got to tame it a little bit, but I'm gonna steal one from Corolla and make it. It ends up being mine. But we're watching football today. Everyone's settled in. It's the end of the Chiefs-Titans game. Like you said, there might be a untimely cover by the Titans. And Adam's son announces that he has a basketball game in 25 minutes and he needs a ride. And Adam's like, well, isn't your mother driving you? She's like, yeah, she said she doesn't feel like it. So kid's got 25 minutes and then has to hear a 20-minute tirade. And now he's got 5 minutes. He's like, okay, so is anyone going to drive me? It's like that kind of thing. And finally, reluctantly, in the most reluctant way, Adam gets up and says, I hope we die in a fiery crash, and walks out and takes his son to the basketball game. And then I come home and my oldest son, Archie, who's there, relays the story to my wife. And guess what she does? Instead of thinking it's funny, she is now all over Adam and saying how, Lynette, she drives everyone everywhere. I was like, oh, that's not the point of this. And we end up getting in a fight about this. And then she claims right in the middle, she's like, I'm just telling your son that he should appreciate what he has in you. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's good. I don't mind that. I'd never hear that. So that's good. But so I abandoned defending Adam and it was all okay. But so Corolla's kids need to ride to games.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How old is this boy?
He's the same. He is 13. Yeah.
What? He's a teenager?
I think Uber's in play at that point.
You beat me to it. They have Uber in California. Why are we talking about this?
Well, so here's the thing. We did a Parent Corner about a month ago, and Simmons, you talked about Uber.
Yeah.
And we got some nasty email. I don't know if you saw, but like some Uber drivers like, hey, you put us in a bad position if you put someone under 18 in an Uber and you put them in a bad position. I was like, oh, all right.
Why is that?
What does that mean?
What's the bad position?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know if they're legally allowed to do it. And there's all like, the reports of whatever.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know the dark side of this. There's accountability with Uber, at least. You can watch the route. You can,
right.
You know the identity of the driver. I mean, I don't know.
I think
it's safer than my wife.
Yeah, sure. I think a responsible Uber driver is better than an angry, buzzed dad anytime.
Do you have a Parent Corner, House?
I have a very quick one, and this is me thanking the both of you for the example that you set. I have my kid turned 9 this year, and we're just now starting. We're at the fledgling stages of wrestling, introducing him to the WWE.
Oh, what a great stage.
And I started, now he knows The Rock and he loves The Rock because The Rock is a hero in a lot of kids movies that he's seen. But the gateway drug, the thing that I've introduced him to so far, and you guys could tell me whether or not this was a mistake. Rikishi. First of all, I showed him the videos of the stink face, and then I've been just walking in and giving him a stink face. Unexpected, without any warning, here comes the stink face.
So this is a giant wrestler with a gigantic ass whose finisher is to drop his rear end.
His other claim to fame was that when my son had a dirty diaper, he would sneak behind us and do the Rikishi stink face. So
wait, did he know?
Yeah, he knew. He just saw it on the wrestling one time, and he thought the stink face.
If he's in a diaper, was he 5, 4?
He was like, I don't know, 1 year old in 10 months or 2 years.
And he knew. Whatever. And he knew the Rikishi then.
He knew, or maybe he invented it. I always thought he got it from Rikishi. Maybe they're spiritual animals. My Parent Corner it's a little bit of a downer, but then it ends on a good thing. So my daughter's playing high school soccer this year for her school. And she plays high forward, and she's, in ninth grade. She's 14, but she's playing against women. Like they're, juniors and seniors. And it's a lot kind of nastier and more physical than club soccer is. Club soccer is one of those things where it's also, it'll have nasty moments. It'll get physical, but everybody knows what they're doing. It's like when you play an awesome pickup basketball game and you're in a game where everybody knows what to do and nobody's going to get hit with an elbow. It's almost like a giant ballet. High school soccer, there's some wild cards. You have some kids that maybe weren't as well trained as some of the club kids who try to make up for it by just kicking you in the back of your leg as you're dribbling by them. The elbows are up, way more physical. So we have this game. There's this annual extravaganza game that our school plays against Brentwood. And there was like 350 people there. And at one point, there was a goal kick that my daughter was going for. And the sweeper basically Earl Thomas'd her. And my daughter was Gronk. And my daughter usually doesn't go down. She's just a strong kid.
I mean, you posted that. I said that was, talk about pro wrestling. That was Roman Reigns' spear. Right there.
It was bad. I put it on Facebook just for my friends, and people were absolutely shocked that she didn't get a concussion, all this stuff. So I've been going to these games, and she was fine. She ended up coming back in, no yellow card. And I hate Brentwood, and they're the Cobra Kai of LA prep schools. But anyway, so I go to these games, and I'm just terrified she's going to get hurt, because it's just like, you just never know. Thursday, we're playing this team. It's near the end. We're losing. And there's a ball. It's kind of a cross that bounces, and it's going toward the goal. And Z has a chance to get a header, and the goal is coming out. And these are always my worst case scenario collisions. Like if you watch soccer, if you play the high forward position, the most common play you're going to get hurt is when the goal is coming out and the high forward's going for the ball and they don't see each other and they hit heads. There's all these ways it can go bad. So every time that happens, I just stop breathing. Collision, and Z goes down, and she goes down. She's not moving. Like she's just on her side, not moving. And 2 seconds pass, 3 seconds pass. She doesn't move. And I don't know what happened, but I just started walking on the field because it's like, it's your kid. Your kid's hurt. You think your kid's out. Yeah. But as a parent, you're not supposed to go on the field. So I took 2 steps, but I don't even know I'm doing it. I'm just walking toward my injured kid. And then the parents on my team are like, hey, get off the field. Because you can get like, or whatever. And so I realized, and I hop back. And then she gets up. First, she does kind of the Paul Pierce wheelchair, where she kind of gets up and she's like feeling her jaw. And she's really mad and finishes the game, and she's just pissed off and so mad that because it turns out the goalie was trying to punch the ball and actually hit her in the chin. But she, as we're driving home, and I'm like, I thought you were like out cold. I walked on the field, and she's like, oh, I was trying to get the penalty.
Is that right?
I was like, what the fuck? I had like a heart attack.
The flopper.
It was like her first flop.
Her first flop.
She went down, and she was just like, I knew it hit and it hurt, and I just thought if I lay down, maybe they'd get a yellow card. I was like, you can't do that again. That's not fair.
The flop doesn't mean dead.
Yeah.
You got to roll around. You got to writhe around a little bit.
I was like, you got to move a little. I thought you were dead. And she's like, oh, well, I thought if I lay there longer, they might get a penalty. I'm like, oh my God.
I think she needs to do something. You have to signal. Bring the Houston Astros into. You need a signal. You need like a 3 flails with the right hand or something, and that's how you know she's all right. She's just milking it for the yellow.
Get a buzzer in there.
So high school soccer is teaching my daughter how to get the crap kicked out of her, how to flop for penalties, and that Brentwood is the Cobra Kai of the
that's great
of LA. And there you go. That's
good job by you, Zoe.
Let's take one more break, and then we'll do Curb Your Enthusiasm. Hey, Simply Safe Home Security is like getting commercial grade, enterprise level security for your own home. Think about the security Fortune 500 companies use. This is exactly the kind of security you get with Simply Safe. I might need it for the guest house because house might try to steal.
I'm going to break in here and just give myself massages in this chair.
If there's a break-in, Simply Safe uses real video evidence to give police an eyewitness account of the crime. That means police dispatch up to 350% faster than for a normal burglar alarm. And with Simply Safe, you get comprehensive protection for your home. Outdoor cameras, doorbells alert you to everyone approaching.
No indoor cameras, right?
No, entry motion glass break sensors guard inside.
Oh, no. Don't have any of the cameras pointed at the massage chair.
Simply Safe protects your home from fires, water damage, carbon monoxide poisoning, and Joe House. It's all monitored 24/7 by live security professionals. You can set it up yourself with no tools needed, or they can do it for you. Only 50 cents a day with no contracts. Go to simplysafe.com/BS today. Get a free Simply Safe security camera. Normally $100. Go today. It's free. It will help you capture crucial evidence for the police and get 350% faster dispatch. Simplysafe.com/BS. That is Simply Safe with 2 I's. All right, we're going to talk about Curb 1 second. You have an RIP for us, Sal.
Yeah, Rocky Johnson. I mean, he was one of the first I remember tag team champs with Tony Atlas. Obviously, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's father. Yeah, he was. What a physique. Nothing like you've ever seen back then. And he was a talented wrestler back in the early mid '80s, and he'll be missed.
Soul Patrol was their tag team.
How did they ever lose? Looking at the two of them.
But that was the thing, that WWE was
How did they ever lose?
pretty racist back then.
What? Hold on a minute.
No, but they used to do this thing where like Tony Atlas would always almost win the title. And then I was like, if he wasn't so dumb, he would have won the title. Like, it was really fucked up.
Oh, yeah, they would say that.
It was always like he would get distracted by Captain Lou Albano or Freddie Blassie, and he couldn't play the mental game. That's why he couldn't win the title.
And you also couldn't have two African-American wrestlers at the top of a card. Like SD Jones, whatever, his fate was set early, and he was going to be a jobber, but he could never rise to the level of Rocky because you couldn't have more than two right there at the top.
Even Superfly Snuka, who was the most popular guy for like a year before Hogan, and that they could never give him the title either, right? Because it had to be Bob Backlund with the fucking crew cut from Minnesota, wherever he was from.
Harvard stepped
Yeah,
down.
Rocky Johnson, best drop kicks of that era.
Yeah.
The physicality.
Everyone else would do the drop kicks and they would hit somebody like kind of lower sternum. Rocky Johnson would like go for the, he'd drop kick the dude's head.
Yeah, way
He'd
up
get
high.
you in the neck. He'd do the foot shuffle. He did a nice sunset flip. He did it all.
He was one of those born too soon guys because I think he was so athletic. The sport didn't start to get aerial until Snuka and Ricky Steamboat mid 80s, and guys started jumping off the top rope, all that stuff. He would have, I think, done all of that, but nobody did that in the 70s.
Right.
So it was a lot
he was a
more.
good deal older than Tony Atlas too.
So when that happened, I ended up on an internet deep dive because there was always this, they gave them the tag team title, and then something happened with Atlas and Rocky Johnson where they didn't get along for a little while.
I listened to all those interviews.
Yeah, so there's all these interviews, and you could just go, and there's really nothing sadder than the old wrestling interviews with the guy looks, the old wrestler looks 30 years older than he actually is. And then the guy interviewing the old wrestler is always the most depressing human being on the internet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the people who make the basketball strategy instructional videos might be more depressing. I don't know. But the combo of those, and it's always like at some card show or in some lobby of a Super 8 in Newark.
Yeah.
And it's like, Tony, what happened with you and superstar Billy Graham?
Right.
He wasn't nice to you, was he? And then the wrestler can't remember anything, but it's just weird. There's some weird details.
Well, and then it's like, and Rocky and I, we had our differences. He talks about Rocky Johnson. He's like, he left me at an arena a couple times, and then I found out, it's because I was on drugs and I wanted to bring drugs in his car. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like, so I forgave him.
I don't know why he doesn't have a podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network. The Curb Your Enthusiasm comes back. This show has been in our lives for 20 years. I was living in Boston and writing the Boston Sports Guy website when this show started. I didn't know Sal.
Is it really that long?
Yeah. 2000. Wow. Y2K. And still going. And I was a little nervous because at some point these things have to end. And I thought this was one of the funniest episodes. I was watching a bunch of them this weekend. They were having marathons on 2 different HBO channels. And I hadn't seen some of them in a while, and I was just enjoying it so much. And I was just like, man, I hope they're like 70% as the new ones are 70% as good. House and I were dying. And Kyle was keeled over. It was just really, it was a really strong one. I was happy with it.
It was good.
What was your best moment? What was your best moment, Cuz?
I like the Harvey Weinstein stuff because
Oh my God.
I was thinking exactly that like 2 days ago driving in my car. I was like, Jeff Garland looks like Harvey Weinstein a little. I wonder if they'll do something with that. And they nailed it. And they brought it back at the end too. It was great.
I loved when he broke the selfie stick.
Yeah.
And and then when he knocked over all the bird scooters, just casually, it's not even mentioned. He just knocks them all over. I think they're establishing that he is just doesn't belong in this current society anymore, which is the card I had been waiting for them to play, and they're finally playing it.
Well, and the other thing is that they like blasted out of a cannon this season. Like usually there's about 6 things that bother him. And it's like, oh yeah, that bothers me too. There were like 40.
Yeah.
We're just going to write down all of them. So I don't even care if he's sticking his nose in coffee. It's like, all right, they would just heat up the coffee. The guy wouldn't kick him out.
Right.
But there was some good stuff. But I do want to say, Super Dave was.
Yeah,
missed.
I want to talk about that.
I was hoping they'd make a hologram of him or something. Obviously, he passed last January. And his wife, Simmons, wanted to thank you. She read the article on The Ringer, Berta Einstein, and she wanted to thank you. Yeah, she said that was great. And just the fact that
that's by
back.
Justin Sales, fellow
that's
Massel.
Right. That's right.
They didn't play the card today, but they will.
Yeah.
They're not. He's not going through the whole season without some sort of Marty Funkhauser something. It'll be Marty died and left something crazy to Larry in his will, or it will turn into an episode, right? Right, House?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And there's going to be, I bet it goes a while. Like just the way that Larry takes the nugget of something, drops it in at some point, and then it'll be, I bet it's like 4 or 5 episodes worth.
Yeah. I was the Seinfeld season was on that Curb did.
Oh yeah.
And I knew it was the episode, and you could just go online and YouTube and watch it when Super Dave tells Seinfeld the joke.
The joke.
And I was just waiting for it for 15 minutes or whatever. Your is in the sink. Bleep that, Kyle.
Don't bleep that, Kyle.
It's my single favorite Curb moment.
Yeah, I think it is. It's really hard to top because you get Jerry laughing legitimately. Just legitimate belly laugh.
Well, and then also didn't we make Super Dave tell the story on your podcast about that scene?
Yeah, he told it. He did.
And
yeah, go back and listen to that too. That's a great one.
It was shocking to both of us, but he was really proud of it.
Right.
And really praised himself, which is unlike Super Dave.
Stupid, dirty jokes more than Super Dave.
Yeah.
I hear him. I forget him immediately. He's like, he had a catalog.
Well, it's awesome that he lives on in that show.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think some of the other stuff he did, even if you watch the old series on Showtime, it's pretty dated.
Yeah,
it feels like it belongs to a certain era. The Curb stuff is timeless.
Yeah.
My daughter actually was watching a couple of them with us this weekend and just started getting into it. And I was thinking there's just going to be new generations that go into the show a lot like what
my
kid,
my son and my 14-year-old and all his friends watched all The Offices. I was like, this is different, but you could sink your teeth into this too.
Yeah. It definitely is some inappropriate content, but it's okay. I'm glad it's back.
Yep.
I would also recommend The Outsider.
I keep hearing that. Brad is our friend Randy is killing me for not watching it.
He likes it?
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
And then Homeland's coming back.
Enough. That.
Come on.
I'm out
last year.
Homeland too.
Last year.
She should have died 2 years ago.
Oh, she's coming on the BS pod soon.
Oh, sorry, Claire. Big fan. Big fan of your work.
You meant the character should have died.
Yeah, the character, of course.
Yeah,
she'll live on.
9 lives, that character.
Yeah. Sal, what else? Do you have anything?
That's it. What do we have? Against All Odds on Wednesday, we'll go over some of the early Super Bowl props. Lock it in 4:30 to 5:30 Eastern on FS1. And we're going to dinner this week. And you better eat, Simmons. I know you're like, I lost 8 pounds. And this is not going to be one of those things where you watch us. You need to participate.
I ate today.
You did eat. We had chicken parm. We had pizza. I don't know how much of it was gluten-free. We ordered a giant John and Vinny spread. So
all right, good.
That's why House barely talked during the pod.
Well, that and the massage.
The 10 pounds of food he ate and the glute massage, and the combo of it.
My chakra.
Oh, we never we never really talked about United Airlines. Let's do that, and then we'll go.
What
on.
happened?
No. It really wasn't their fault. I mean,
I think that's their slogan.
United
really
Airlines
wasn't our
is coming
fault.
on against all odds.
They
So maybe
bring-
we shouldn't talk about
they
it.
bring everybody's loaded onto the plane 15 minutes before we're scheduled to take off. They do a safety check. Somebody outside notices that there are some nicks on the blade inside the engine.
Yeah.
And they think it was caused by rocks. And it's like, well, we can file it down, but then we have to see whether or not if we file it, it takes it out of equilibrium or whatever it is. There's I can remember the calibration, the term of art that they tried to use on us to make us all feel stupid. But they string us along in 15-minute increments. So I'm supposed to leave at 8:30 in the morning, Washington D.C. time, and they leave us on the plane all the way until 10:30.
Oh my
And then
God.
they finally are like, okay, we're not going to get this fixed. You got to get off. And then it's like we might be able to get another airplane, or you're going to go on the 5 o'clock flight.
This doesn't sound like United Airlines at all.
I mean, the butt fuck is I had to get up at 5:45 in the morning for an 8:30 flight. Like, if the guy could have inspected it, a little earlier, I could have come 4 hours later. Like, I don't mind, but spending the time at the airport, airports, and you guys just had this problem at LAX, the filthiest places on earth, right? Like the air, because people have to sit,
Right.
and
it's
convenience.
like a hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
The good news is that there's a ton of dogs now because we needed that.
Oh, yeah.
I sat across from
airports weren't disgusting enough. Now we need dogs. I have 3 dogs. I'm allowed to say this.
I sat across from a dog on the 5-hour trip.
Yeah, I don't think that's nice to call her a doghouse. I was an actual dog. Sorry. I was going to ask you how many dogs on the plane.
I only saw one, but that doesn't mean that there
I
were.
only saw one.
We flew back from Boston at the end of December. It was 11 dogs on the plane.
Oh, shut up. There's
11.
11 dogs.
I'm telling you, there's 11 dogs on the plane.
What are you talking about?
People fly with their fucking dogs, and they think it's like instead of paying to put them in a kennel, they just put them in an airplane.
That's enough of that.
I did a hottest take that I don't think we've run yet about this, how this needs to end. And I think I'm allowed to do it because I've had 5 dogs in the last 15 years, and I currently have 3. I love dogs. That doesn't mean they should
You
be
may
on
want to bring
airplanes.
Corolla on that for the emotional support animal. He's unless I don't know. Does your hottest takes usually go like 2.5 hours? Not really, right?
Is there any way he can merge that with the goalpost? I think
Yeah,
if
so.
it's a service dog, it's one thing. But if it's
No.
I got my buddy who's a doctor to write me a note so I could bring my golden retriever on the plane when there's nothing wrong with me. Like, that's fucking
Right.
crazy. And that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
Don't bring your dogs on airplanes. Nobody wants to see your dog.
Keep them at home.
And flight attendants, don't be nicer to the people who has the dog than the normal human being in the seat next to them. It's not hard to have a dog and carry a dog. It's not hard to rescue a dog. It's not hard to bring a dog on an airplane. You don't get special bonus points.
Amen. I don't disagree with any of that.
Sorry. Yeah, you just had your Corolla rant for 7 hours. Now you're gonna listen to me.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Sal. As always, good job by you.
Good job by you.
All right, thanks to ZipRecruiter, thanks to House and Sal, thanks to Sonos. Remember, check out the Sonos Move for both indoor and outdoor listening. I can't recommend it highly enough. Experience impressive bass, ultra-wide soundscape, clear details for music. Bring it, podcast, radio, whatever you want. Bring it on the golf course with you. Bring it on the massage chair. You can have
Bring
it
it
right
on
on
the
your lap
massage
right
chair.
now. You can enjoy up to 10 hours of battery life on a single charge. Go to Sonos.com to learn more. And thanks to SimpliSafe, comprehensive enterprise level security for your own home. If there's a break-in, if somebody tries to steal your massage chair, SimpliSafe uses real video evidence to give police an eyewitness account of the crime. We have 2 eyewitnesses right now, so we won't need an eyewitness in this case. But normally, it costs just 50 cents a day. Go to simplisafe.com/BS. Get a free SimpliSafe security camera. Normally $100. Go today. It's free. It will help you capture crucial evidence for the police and get 350% faster dispatch. SimpliSafe.com/BS. SimpliSafe with 2 eyes. We will see you Tuesday with that mega NBA pod, me, Haas, and Marcillo. And we'll be putting that up probably late afternoon Tuesday, your time. So look out for it then. Until that moment, enjoy the next couple of days.